Hello and welcome to the Pickup WNBA podcast. I'm your host, Cathryn Niker.
And I'm your other host, Freddie Rivas. What's up?
And this is episode 115, baby. 115. Lots going on. But first, as Freddie takes his sip of water, you can remind everyone to
follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, soon to be Blue Sky at the Pickup WNBA podcast. Make sure to comment, let us know what you think, and we appreciate it. It helps a lot, and we appreciate the support. Spotify comments, all that stuff. So keep giving it to us. And again, thanks for all the folks that have filled out our survey. We have a survey with ACAST, with the Sonar Network, that is essentially a way for us to get to know our listeners more, get feedback from them, sort of see, what advertisers they are interested in and don't want or whatever. So we really appreciate folks taking time to fill this out, and it's good for our podcast. So thank you if you've done it already, and if you're going to do it, thank you in advance.
Yeah, we're trying to get to 100 people. That's the amount of people that they want to be able to survey, and we're getting there. So we are pushing this a little bit, but we appreciate you all so much. And again, it's going to help our show grow so much. Quick puppy update. She's she's in the crate right now. I have given her some peanut butter. It's the first time she's had human food, and I'm praying to God I haven't created a monster. So if you hear any whining in the background, I apologize. But she, I have been crate training her, so she's whining for food, and I promise you all she is okay. And she has eaten, and she's gone out, and she's had some water, and she's had some playtime,
Cathryn's a good mom, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, major news. Diana Taurasi has officially retired. Wow. I know she's in her 40s, but I didn't see it coming because, and I think you and I, Freddie, were talking about this just on our own. Like, we didn't think it would go down like this. Like, we kind of saw her having a Sue Bird like farewell tour, saying goodbye to the fans and all of that. But apparently, according to her interview with Time Magazine, which is really cool that Time Magazine did this feature, that she just decided at around New Year's that she kind of realized that she was done. And Freddie, you had this really great observation about this is why we think Brittany left, which makes so much sense now, because that was kind of the more shocking part of Brittany Griner leaving the Mercury, was like, oh, yes. How is she leaving Diana? They're so close. But now that we know that Diana isn't coming back, all of the moves that the Phoenix Mercury made make so much sense now. And to lose such a huge cornerstone of your franchise, I mean, they've done a lot to be ready to win now. They're not going to really skip a huge beat or have a huge rebuild. So good on them. But for now, Freddie, let's talk about Diana a bit. I mean, she was my favorite. This is why I picked the Phoenix Mercury as my home team, even though we're both Torontonians. I did that for her. I'm going to miss her tons.
I'm going to miss her so much. I think me and you sort of got heavily into the W with this podcast, but leading up to it, around 2020, right?
Yeah.
We're sort of wobble timeline people. And she is just such a central figure of the league, obviously way before that. But we've seen some greats go. Now we've seen Sylvia Fowles, we've seen
Sue Bird,
and obviously Candace Parker last year. But this, to me, is the end of the GOAT, of the sort of standing GOAT era.
Yeah.
And obviously there's like Brittany Griner at some point, but she still seems like she has like a decent amount of playing left. And I don't think Brittany's in GOAT territory anyhow.
No, and
So
she's younger. She's young.
yeah, right. I think she's 33. And it just seems to me like this is really the ending of of the era, like especially with like the torch being passed to Caitlin and
Mm,
obviously, players like Asia and Nafisa and being like the heads of the league right now. This seems to me like it's just such a torch passing of a league and like where it is right now. You mentioned the Time article is a great article, and I think a big part that long time W fans are going to remember Diana Forrest. Like, she held the league down in a time when things were rough, and she really paved the way for what we're seeing now and what we're going to see. You know,
mhm.
so I think she's going to be in GOAT status for forever, right? Like I think even as people break some of her records and the seasons get longer and the record, scoring gets higher or whatever it is, there's going to be a lot of things that she did that are just so unique to her time.
Mm.
Can I do I've done this for some of our goats. Can I just do like a big old like sort of like credential dump?
Sure.
Because it's so gaudy. I think it's fun to say. So here we go. Diana Taurasi, three-time WNBA champion, 2007, 2009, 2014. Two-time WNBA Finals MVP, 2009, 2014. She won MVP in 2009, 11-time All-Star, 10-time All WNBA First Team, four-time All WNBA Second Team. She's a five-time scoring champ, Rookie of the Year, six-time peak performer, six-time EuroLeague champion, seven-time Russian National League champion, three-time Russian Cup winner, three-time Russian League Player of the Year, Turkish National League champion, Turkish Cup winner, three-time NCAA champion, two-time NCAA tournament MOP. And then two-time Naismith College Player of the Year, and there's a bunch more. There's still like a ton more, and I'm not going to name them all. I think the Olympics is the other big one. She's going to really stand out as one of the most accomplished team Olympians ever, right?
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
uh, yeah,
Gaudy is a
that's
good word for all of that. Real for all our, YouTube audience, I made a weird face, and that's because, my dog just made a weird burping sound that I haven't heard before.
oh,
We're
okay, good
but
because
we're gonna keep it moving.
okay, good because it was right after I said like NCAA tournament MOP, and I saw you make that face, and I was like,
I had
"What
to
the fuck
explain
did I do?"
it.
Um, but yeah, okay. So one thing I want to touch on here that a lot of cool stuff in this Time article.
Mm,
Um, the Time article, by the way, written by Sean Gregory, came out yesterday, February 25th. A lot of cool stuff. One thing I think that is, I'll just go ahead and say it's completely lost on me from an experience standpoint of watching the W.
mhm.
So, when we came in, like, I'm reflecting on our era, right? When like me and you, when we came in, pretty shortly after Brittany Griner was wrongfully detained, right? So that was
Yeah, it was the 2nd year of us doing the podcast when that happened.
yes,
Yeah.
and it really sort of colored my experience of like overseas play, of Russia, everything, right?
Mhm.
So, I'd love to hear from like an OG fan who followed all the leagues, but reading this beautifully written article by Sean Gregory, I think some of the like gravity of what it meant to play in Russia came across, and like how highly Diana spoke of it, and how it was important for her to be the highest paid player in the world. The Russian leagues were really competitive. It gave her a lot
And
of,
they were treated well, they were taken care of there, yeah.
and it gave her toughness, right? And I think, even the fact that she sat out an entire W year to make sure she was healthy for her Russian year, that is something that is not really like a part of the landscape right now,
Mhm, mhm.
right? Obviously, we have
Not
Unrivaled, and
anymore, yeah.
not anymore, right? So, and it was previously, and when I say that, I think other stars are going to come along and rack up points, and like, like Asia's already won 2 MVPs, right? There's going to be other types of like goat claims to goat, but I think that Diana did all of the things she could possibly do in her time, and
Yes.
playing in these other leagues and winning in these other leagues can't be dismissed. So that's kind of a meandering point, but that's like just a full body of work.
It's a great point though. Like I'm glad you brought in her international accomplishments into this as well, because there are so many, and it does color her overall career. I think too, like, because we're fans in the of the later stages of her career, fans of women's basketball and getting into it as deeply as we have. But I feel like, as a longtime NBA fan as well, like, even though, we are not of the generation that got to watch like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain and stuff
Mhm.
like that, we know how important they were to
Yes.
basketball. And that's how I feel about, this generation and even previous to this generation of the WNBA players. Like, I think Diana Taurasi is going to be a huge part of that type of legacy for the WNBA, right? As well as Candace Parker. But going back further, even like Dawn Staley, Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, like, they're all going to be a part of that. And I feel very much that like Diana is going to be remembered and mentioned a lot in the years to come. Like, I think her name's going to be mentioned whenever we talk about greatness. Like, she set the bar, right? And it's funny too, like, even in the Time article, like, she talked about, how, like, her records are gonna be broken, and that's sports, and that's really exciting, and she was like, "I can't wait to watch it, but hopefully not anytime soon." I
Yes.
love that,
That's
I
awesome.
love that. It's like, there's still that bit of fiery competitive, spirit there.
Yeah, and, this is just, just follow me here, but, Angel Reese recently, that was in the news about, just sort of like talking some shit about Sabrina, and Sabrina's response kinda said that, "Hey, this is a part of the sport, this is fun."
Mm,
I kinda, like, let my play do the talking sort of thing, and people get really uncomfortable with women talking shit and being tough. And I think Diana is this like is just this perfect model of like this uncompromising toughness. And
mhm.
I'll say it because they dance around in the article, like a downright like unlikable person at times. And I think if you're a Mercury fan, or if you're us coming in, you're like, oh, this is so fun, and like she's awesome, and like, I love her. But I think that if you're from a fan base, or if you're a player who played against her, you might genuinely be like, yeah, yeah, I respect that person, but like I actually hate them. Like they're dirty, they like hurt me, they hit a dagger in my eye, they're not nice. Like, and I think that
Yeah,
with
yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
they
it's
they she kissed somebody on the court back in,
yeah,
like, 2013, which I only just learned now, and
yeah.
they're a famous person too, and I'm blanking on their name. Oh, that's gonna bother me, I'm sorry, everyone. Um, but yeah, like, she kicked doors down and stuff like that, but, you know what really struck me though? This is something I'm gonna remember. I don't know if everyone will remember this, but I'll remember this. So, like, this year, right? They were in the first round of the playoffs. They lose to the Lynx, right? And the Lynx home crowd gave her a standing ovation with anticipation of this might be her last game. And then it
Mhm.
turns out it was, right? And that's respect, man. Like, I mean, also too, like, I think I've said this at the time, but shout out to the Lynx fan base because, they had their whole amazing era with, Maya Moore, another great that we should mention in this generation. Like, they had their championship run. They saw a lot of Taurasi. They saw a lot of her. They were on the other end of that a lot. And for them to give her a standing ovation, I thought was like beautiful and perfect and really a very high compliment. And I think like when someone's career comes to an end, like you kind of you kind of let all those feelings go, or at least in my opinion you should, and just realize the greatness that they are. Like as a, we're both Toronto people, right? Like we have rooted against LeBron James more than most people.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But and there are times where like, oh, like I couldn't stand him. I found him so annoying. Oh, he's complaining too much, like whatever, right? But I am like, wow, I got to be a part of the generation that watched LeBron James whole career in real time. Like that's cool. You know what I mean? Like I think the respect eventually should outweigh the hate in any realm.
Oh, 100%.
And I think it does in this scenario because, like, it based on that Lynx fan, reaction. I
And
feel, yeah,
how about this for respect? Last year, Phoenix gave her a practice court.
yeah. They named a whole practice court
How
after her.
hardworking of a person do you have to be, or a player do you have to be, to like a practice court is your name?
Mm,
That is intense.
mhm.
I've never even heard of that. It's such a cool way to honor someone who works hard. By the way, she kissed Simone Augustus,
Thank you. Oh
so
my god,
that's
I
a
was
fair.
like, it's someone so famous, and I'm
Yeah.
blanking on her name. Simone Augustus. Yeah,
She was in Space Jam 2. Like she is just a legendary
yeah.
basketball figure, and yeah, really, really
We're
cool to
gonna
get to
miss
see
her
her play.
personality as
Oh my
well,
god,
right? Like, and I was thinking about this
big
too.
time.
Like, man, like if you're like, those TNT guys are like NBC's picking up the NBA next season. Like, if you're not courting Taurasi to be on your broadcast, you're insane. You know what I mean? Like, pull up the Brinks truck and be like, Taurasi, we need you on TV. Wouldn't you? She would
Yeah,
be
well,
phenomenal television.
she would be, and she's also, I gotta say, she's also one of these players where I kinda don't know where she's headed, because
Yeah, what's her
I think
post-playing career if it is gonna be a
yeah,
career
like, I
going to
think
be?
she could be kind of whatever she wants. She could be on the broadcast, she could be a coach, she could
Yeah,
be
because like,
in front
Candace.
offices, she could
Yeah.
be, like, part of the NBA. Like, she really, I don't know, sky's the limit for Diana, and I think I just I couldn't you couldn't yeah, I couldn't put any money on anything because I also feel like it wouldn't surprise me totally if she kind of had, like, a Tim Duncan, like, disappears from the game
Well, he
sort
was
of
an assistant
thing.
coach for a bit too.
That's
He
true,
didn't
but
disappear per se.
yeah, she's although she yeah, I mean, I just can't really say where I think she's headed.
Listen, I want slash need for her to be in broadcasting. WNBA, NBA, tennis,
Her
I
and
don't
Sue
care.
Bird just, like
Like, I need
yeah,
her. Like, I need her to do this because, like, I was gonna say, like, Candace Parker, I also love on broadcasts, right? She's very, very good. Candace Parker is a rational, reasonable human being,
yeah.
and she is a
Yeah, Diana's
good
a hothead.
yeah, and
Mm.
she's a really good counter to a hothead, to a hot takes person. That's why she works so well with those guys. You know what I mean? If she would like, like Shaq and whatever, right? Like she bounces off of them really well. I don't know what her relationship with Taurasi is like, if they're even like remotely cordial. Like I don't know. But I
Yeah, I'm not sure
I
either.
actually have no idea how they feel about one another. But if they do get along enough to be on TV together, it would be a dream. It would be a dream. But if they don't and Tarasi's doing something else, maybe I
Well,
like
her and Stu Bird doing okay, you know
yeah,
what?
they have their pod, which I like or whatever, right? They
This
have
is
they have their occasional like live streams that they do, but I want Tarasi on TV, NBC. You have to get her. You have to get her on television. She would be phenomenal. Like it just has to happen. It has to happen. I might even write NBC a fucking letter. I might
okay.
write them a letter and be like, "You are complete idiots if you are not
You just
courting."
started with an insult. Hello, idiots. My name's Cathryn.
No. Maybe maybe I use a different email for this. For this letter. But I mean, don't you agree? Like, wouldn't it be such a waste if she wasn't on television talking about basketball in some way?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think
I'm passionate about this.
so. Here's this became like a spontaneous FFQ, but I just she gets all the Kobe comps, right? She was the white
Mm,
mamba, Kobe's a black mamba, and I think Kobe is her like is a good comp for her as far as just like a obsessive, overly competitive kind of thing.
mhm.
Um, and I can't remember the name of his show, but very briefly because of his untimely death, Kobe had a show where he would really like super dissect a player and just go through it from a player's perspective. Like he would go through their game, and it was just like wildly insightful. That
Mm.
would be cool. It would be awesome to see Diana like break down a game just like in the most technical possible way that only a player could. I think like basketball junkies would really be down with something like that.
I
But
would love that. I would absolutely love that. But I also would love for
you need her
her
amongst others.
I would love her to be like I don't know. You're an idiot. Asia Wilson is the greatest, but girl, you need to step up. I don't know
Right.
what scenario that is, but you know what I mean? Like
I know what
I
you're saying.
also want that. I
You
want
want
both.
you want the Shaq Petty.
But I want it to be pure Diana as
Yeah.
only she could do. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I don't want her to be like anyone else, just to be very, very clear.
Mhm.
But I just want her. I just want her. I'm not necessarily into pettiness, for the record, but I just like her sass. Her particular brand of sass I enjoy.
No, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's absolute
And unlike Shaq, she has worked hard all the time.
ouch. I love it. Burn on Shaq. Hello, NBC. You suck. So does Shaq. Hi, I'm Catherine.
I don't dislike Shaq per se. Real quick, this is just a total aside, real here, but I'll do this quickly. So, on my YouTube recommends, right, came up an old game, an old NBA game, a classic Western Conference Final, Phoenix Suns versus Seattle Supersonics, and it was Game 7. And this is Charles Barkley in his prime. This is his MVP season. I watched that game for the first time. I'd never seen it before because I got into basketball later. He had in a game 7 40 points and 22 rebounds. It is one of the most dominant game 7 performances I've ever seen.
From Shaq.
No, from Charles Barkley.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just said Phoenix in Seattle. Where were you?
I I got lost looking for the name of the Kobe Bryant series, and it's called Detail.
Thank you. It's okay. You're ADHD and I'm undiagnosed something. So, it's fine. I've gone on a whole other tangent, but I'm just saying like the reason I bring this up because we're talking about the Shaq, Charles Barkley like broadcasting dynamic. The way Barkley gets like shit on for not winning a championship, I never thought anything of it. And then I saw that performance and he single-handedly brought that team to the finals. My dog just made a noise again. Like, single-handedly brought that team to the finals in a way that is, like, unprecedented. Like, I just feel like, man, that guy should get so much more credit.
Okay,
That's my basketball revelation.
here's my I never like to say this word, but
Wow.
here's my um casual meter for sports fans. If you ever find yourself on the argument of like championship or bust, like this player is bad because they don't have a championship, you need to sign up for a casual like you need to identify as a casual because that's what you are.
Yes, I
Because
agree.
because all
Yep.
sports are littered with legends that have not won championships. And I think when if you're really into a sport and you really know and also that I think that includes like non MVPs. Like there's a lot of ways to be special, and it's just not it's yeah, it's like it's apples to oranges a lot of times. And we're like circling all the way back to the international stuff. Like no player is ever gonna do that again, right? So and she did
True.
that because that was the time that she was in. Anyhow,
Very true.
that's
Love Taurasi so
love
much.
Taurasi. Diana, thank you.
Thank you for everything, and I hope you, remain in my life via television soon.
Okay.
Speaking it into existence, another really fun thing that happened this week was the new Toronto Tempo officially named their GM, had a press conference introducing them. Monica Rogers, welcome. Really excited to have her. She was a former player with the Lynx. She worked in the Phoenix Mercury head office. Now she's here in Toronto. We got invited to the press conference. We got to attend via Zoom, which was really awesome. Just exciting developments here, Freddie. I don't know what else you would like to comment about it.
Yeah, it was cool being, once again with the tempo, and I think we have the privilege of, being in the mix for media for Canada, and it's really exciting. And it was awesome to see such a big moment for Monica. Yeah, I think a lot of W fans would know her for sure. She's also a college legend,
Yeah.
Texas native, and yeah, two-time W championship or champion with the Lynx. She's a defensive specialist and really, really like storied career, and also has worked in speaking of Taurasi, she's worked in the Mercury front office. So great choice by Teresa Resch and the Toronto Tempo. Their next step is to choose a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of fun tempo things on the way. I mean, I'm curious, by the way, to start learning more about Portland because to me, like all this should be happening for Portland as well. So I want to know what Portland's name's going to be. I want to know who their general manager is, who their head coach, right? Because things are going to happen fast.
That's true.
So I'm curious about all that, but a really, really awesome moment for Monica. It was awesome to see. Side note in the Zoom, oh my God, they were playing Bob Dylan. They were playing like the music that was going on. Me and Cathryn, right? We're like,
I
you
was
know,
commenting on it.
it was good shit. It was like really sort of like it was an absolute vibe, and I've never
I don't think
attended.
they were actually playing Bob Dylan, were they? It was just like Bob Dylan esque, but it was modern.
No, there was a Bob Dylan track in
Oh,
there.
there
It's like
was. Okay. But it was
I
that kind of vibe. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I don't know what it
It's
was.
not
Like
my particular genre per se, but I respect it.
yeah, it was good. There was some Beyonce when she hit the stage.
Yeah.
Um, it was cool. It was cool. It was really good. I would say nothing really. It's a GM, right? So the questions kind of had to be a little bit on the generic side. I think me and Cathryn had some good questions, which they didn't go to Zoom, so we didn't ask any, but we had some good
Well, they
ones.
could
And
have if you wanted to. That's why we were
yeah, but
there.
I
They
think we were
didn't go
both
to
just
Zoom
sort
because
of.
you didn't raise your hand.
Yeah, I should have clicked the
And I'm
raise
saying
hand button.
and I'm saying that to you because I explicitly told you I was not going to raise my hand because I'm too shy. However, we're gonna try. No guarantees, no promises. We're gonna try and get her on the podcast.
It would be cool. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
try.
and talk to her about like what it's like to, be a part of this expansion process and all of that. So really
Yeah.
cool
So
stuff there. Uh
congratulations, Monica Rogers.
Okay. So, Freddie, we've got some really interesting NCAA developments here with the players. Speaking of the
Um,
culture of NCAA basketball, not necessarily
yeah,
the actual games, which we'll be doing soon as we get into March.
yeah. So this is like a big evolving story. Um, this is from Front Office Sports from Amanda Kristovich, and it's all about college organizing. And if you listen to this podcast for a little while, you know that me and Cathryn, we're into it. Power to the people. We love organizing, and we love players getting their money, players getting their respect. So over 120 players in college have gone to their respective, like their representatives. They're trying to get uh, basically like meetings with. I forget what the acronym is exactly, but the college representatives who can pay the actual athletes and sort of make sure they get their fair share. And I think what's big about this is over 120 uh basketball players from the NCAA, female basketball players, are also joined by 20 WNBA alum who are there to have their back and who have been through this process and not made as much money as they should have. And even with NIL, this is about like the divvying up of money. So Georgia was used as an example. 75% of Georgia's athletic salary is going to be going to their football team. 15% is going to be going to their men's basketball team, and 5% is going to be going to the women's basketball team. So this is not, this is like sort of like what Kelsey Plum said this offseason. This isn't women asking to be paid the same amount of money as men. This is asking for fair representation, and this is an organizing movement. So
Right. Well, the Kelsey
yeah,
Plum quote that you're referring to talked about equal percentages.
equal percentages. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Uh,
is that
uh,
what this is about as well? Or is this more
that's
about representation?
it's well, I mean, it's about both. And by the way, the
Okay.
acronym is the SAAC. So the SAAC is sort of what like the governing body of this.
Mm,
Uh, and this is about essentially a push for unionization, because
mm.
college basketball is a massive revenue generator, and for a long time the athletes and in this scenario the female athletes have not seen the amount of money that they should be seeing. And this is,
Or any, right? Like, for a long time,
yeah,
it's been
for a long
absolutely
time
0
nothing. Yeah.
money, and only recently it became the NIL deals.
And I get it. You're getting a paid education, but it just is not equal to the fact of like what the college is making, right? And I think that we're seeing some of those numbers now, and like just how much money, like from TV deals and everything that is brought in. So yeah, that's kind of where this is at. There's a lot of minutia here, but this is something to keep an eye on, especially also as we head into the WNBA bargaining agreements in the next year. There's going to be a lot of money at stake, a lot of major issues at stake, and this is where things get hashed out. So these movements are very important.
Don't you think Diana should have played 2 more years just to get that extra money? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
There's a part of me that I'm like, man, but you are missing out on some big dough, but she made some big dough, so shout out to her.
Yes, yes. I mean, that's really exciting. Like, you and I work in entertainment, and I can tell you, like, the entertainment industry would cease to exist if it weren't for unions. So, people would just be taken advantage of financially. I mean, like right, left, and center. Like, it would just be all of us working for free. Like, it'd be crazy. It would just be madness. So I'm very pro this, and yeah, hopefully it
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, unions exist because you can't rely on the benevolence of private entities.
Hmm. Well
You
said.
can't do it. They want to make money and they want to squeeze you. So you got to fight for it.
All right,
But
we'll get off our high horse here.
yeah, let's get off our high mechanical horse. That
Freddie.
joke didn't make any sense, but in
No,
my
it's
mind,
fine.
I was like, it was going somewhere.
All good. Fun question time.
Fun question time. Okay, FFQ. So it's been all Diana, and my FFQ is Diana is one of her biggest, claims to fame is that she's really good at getting under other players' skin in a variety of ways. And Cathryn, my question to you is, what is your go-to move to get under people's skin?
This is a really interesting question because Freddie, I don't actually think I do get under people's skin or ever try to. Do you think I try to do that? Have you experienced me doing that? Because I feel
I
like,
have not experienced, but I haven't experienced your ire. Like I haven't experienced
oh,
you
and why would
being
you?
angry. Like I've never been called, say, a shrimp, you know, for instance. Like I've never been your brother and been referred
That
to as
is such a deep comeback, like callback. Oh my god. Um, yeah, because I think I'm not this person. Like, I said earlier, like I'm not really into the whole petty thing. I'm really not. I'm not
Mhm,
I'm not like that. I'm not like I am a very honest, straightforward person, and I will just like be straight up with people.
mhm,
But I only do that when I really care about somebody. Like if it's like a weird like work situation, or like it's like some random acquaintance saying something crazy, I usually just like I try to pick and choose my battles
yeah.
with it, but I don't think I actually do anything to deliberately get under people's skin. I really, oh my god, the dog is going off. She's got get I'm getting under her skin
Yeah,
by
she's getting
podcasting. But Freddie, what's your answer?
well, I am very conflict avoidant, right?
Mm,
And it's it was even though I wrote it, it's a hard question for me as well because like I definitely like I don't want to be in like any altercation. Like I'm generally trying to avoid it. However,
mm.
there are times where I go nuclear, and it's usually work like injustice related. So like when I
Unions.
yeah, like that's my shit. That's what like that activates me. So if someone is like, being shitty to like someone else that they like perceive as lesser than, I feel like I start to go nuts. So um I try to be really tactical. Like my like going like trying to get under people's skin is like if there's an example of of something I've done is if there's a Toronto politician, like someone in my riding that represents me, I'll look through their voting record. And if they've done something that
Wow.
frustrates me, I will mail them or call them, and I know they have to speak to me.
Do
And
you mean email or mail?
email. Sorry.
All good.
And I'll confront them on an issue, but with the backup of their specific record. So like I'll sort of like
Same.
I'll throw their
Those
uh
ADHD meds work. I'm
they're
kidding.
pretty good. No, they're pretty good for that. And for it's like I think I want to say like early 30s I realized that I'm a like a constituent sort of thing, and like I like deserve to and need to be listened to. So there's like the odd thing where I'll be like, no, I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna like file a complaint and like make sure you're a bit bothered. So that's my get under your skin.
That's cool. I like that about you, Freddie. I like that you're
Thank you.
active in your community.
Gotta be,
I
gotta be.
yeah, I thought of an example. So this isn't like me being like trying to get under somebody's skin, but this is just an example of me like to an acquaintance. So going this is like an exception to what I was saying before of just not having it. So I went to a Raptors game with my friend Leonard, shout out, and he brought another friend who I hadn't met before, but I was like, that's fine. We're going to a game. We like
Oh, I
basketball,
remember this
whatever.
story.
And on the subway, right? Like we're taking the subway to the game, and on the subway, this guy had the nerve. I mean, and this take I remember a year ago was around a lot, and it's so funny now to think about it. Said he didn't think Caitlin Clark should leave college to go to the WNBA because she would make more money in college. And I lost it. Like I was like yelling at this guy on the subway and like like strangers were looking at us. But I just could not stand this like internet come to life person in front of me with this ridiculous opinion. And now like I bet if like I had a conversation with him again, he would like walk it back or like try to alter his take in some way or something stupid because it's so funny and how laughable that is now. But that is like that was a real Tarasi, I'm kicking the door down, I'm not taking this kind of moment. Like it really was.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's the best I got. I'm not like her. I'm not like Tarasi, but that's
Yeah,
why I
I
like
think
her.
this FFQ we realized that we're not like Tarasi.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna have something as you created the question, as it is your fun question.
I know, but maybe what was fun about this was that
We
we
learned
needed to
something about each
learn
other.
something about ourselves, you know?
Let's wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone so much for listening and tuning in. Appreciate you all. Remember to like, subscribe, leave us a review, all that good stuff. The survey is still happening. If you have the time, we appreciate you so much. We'll as the show grows, we'll never forget the loyal listeners that are helping us along the way here. So thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, catch you next time. Thanks everybody.
Bye.
Peace.